Well, hi everyone, it's Jeff Hopper back with Tracy Hanson talking about matters of the heart. And we have in our last couple of sessions established a couple of things. One is that we have a problem and that our heart by itself is deceitful. Mm-hmm. But secondarily, that God makes himself available to dwell in our hearts by his Son. And so Christ will dwell in your hearts, Paul wrote to the Ephesians. The question, I guess, is how does he get there? So let's kind of take a roundabout way of getting there. Let me ask you a little bit about a time when you've thought, maybe that would be a good idea to try in my golf game or try in my life. But I don't know. Am I willing to dive in? Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I think I had a longtime swing instructor who I love and adore, and it was just getting really hard to connect with him because he was in Idaho and I was out traveling around the world. And so I started to feel lost in my swing, and I was searching for somebody to help. And so I tried this person for a little bit. I tried my brother-in-law for a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, I kind of like that. And then I tried something else, and so nothing was really settling with me, and I felt like I was floundering, and I felt like I was going crazy, actually, in my golf swing. And then I found a guy in Michigan who I was like, I can go there. I agree with the theory. I agree with what he wants to teach me. And I went through a swing change to finish out my career.
And if you know anything about swing changes, they're hard even if you're fully committed.
Yes. It took over about a year to make a small little swing change.
Yeah. Wow. Don't tell me that. I'm trying to do a swing change right now.
Good.
I've got a long way to go. In Deuteronomy 4, you used the word lost, I think, which is really important. In Deuteronomy 4, Moses is talking to the people. They are about to enter the promised land, and yet he kind of, I would say, pulls them up short a little bit and says, you are going to go to the promised land, but eventually you're going to be driven out of the promised land, and you're going to be scattered among the nations. And when you live there, you're going to be lost. You're going to flounder because these nations are worshiping other gods, they're worshiping idols. It's going to be very confusing. And where do I go now? And what do I do? And yet, then he tells them this. He says, but if from there you seek the Lord your God, you will find him if you seek him with all your heart and with all your soul. So here we've said the heart is deceitful. Christ will enter our heart if we seek God with all our heart. We will find him. And so there's this meeting of that deceitful heart and this God who is willing to dwell in our heart, and incredible things happen when those meet.
Right.
Yeah.
It's making me feel that God is asking us to co-participate with him. And that as he searches our heart and he comes toward our heart, he wants us to go towards his at the same time. And not out of performance, but out of longing and hope that we together, our hearts can be changed because it's like a relationship that goes back and forth, a receiving and a giving. James
wrote, draw near to God and he will draw near to you. So there is that co-participation. God is stunningly, as we said last time, available. The God of the universe is available to dwell within us in our deceitful heart. But he's not coming unless we seek him and say, Lord, come.
Right.
Right.
And I've heard somebody love the statement that God is a gentleman. And from a female's heart, that makes sense to me, that he's a gentleman and he will graciously wait for me to come back towards him. He's there. He's always there waiting. And he's just waiting for me to come back.
Wow. I'm moved always by what is the gospel. And that's really what we're talking about here, the gospel. A God who descended, went to a cross, to make himself available to us. Until that happened, until the incarnate God came as Jesus of Nazareth and lived that earthly life and died that death and rose again, this really was not something that was this idea. We didn't have this idea of he will dwell in your heart. The Jewish people saw him as, well, he's there and we serve him, but that personal indwelling was a New Testament idea, and it's an overwhelming one when we really think about the ramifications.
Right. Yeah, that God came to us.
Yeah.
Just
Wow.
that, and it's profound.
It is profound. Emmanuel, God with us. Wow. Hey, Christmas time right here in the middle of summer. Well, we'll see you next time. We have more matters of the heart to talk about.